run it, run it, run it. Let's go. Get out, let's go. Here we go, work at it. Work your technique, do little things right. That's it, all right, roll it.
This is Cardinals Game Plan, presented by Dignity Health. Your hosts, Paul Calvisi and Ron Wolfley, with the head coach, Cliff Kingsbury.
All right, welcome in, everyone. A pleasure, as always, to be joined by the head coach, Cliff Kingsbury. And Ron Wolfley, may I start with a stat?
Well, you are a sideline guy, Paul.
Wolf, how many teams are in the playoffs every year in the NFL?
12.
12. You realize that 10 teams a year ago started 1-1 or 0-2.
I did not realize that, Paul.
It just seems to me, with a preseason meaning less than ever, that even playoff teams, it takes them a couple of weeks to find themselves, to dial it in. And I'm curious what you've discovered about the Cardinals through 2 games this year so far.
I think we're definitely a work in progress. There's no question. But the 2 games, I think that the thing that you see is resolve and a fight in both games, and that's something you can build off of. We've got to clean up a lot of areas. We've got a long way to go, but in both games, there were moments that it could have went either way, and we continue to fight and give ourselves a chance at the end.
Coach, is it safe to say that you're encouraged based on what you're seeing?
I believe so. I think anytime you have a new staff, you have a rookie quarterback, and you're able to hang in there against some very good football teams, you can build off that. And we, like I said, we have a long way to go, but it's a starting point.
Speaking of starts, what did the Cardinals need to do? I know a point of emphasis, start fast. What's involved in that?
Yeah, I think we've talked about it so much the first 2 weeks. I'm not going to say a word about it and see if that'll work. You know, sometimes you overkill it and it kind of has the reverse effect. But we definitely got to get rolling quicker on offense and defense, and that'll definitely help our cause.
Coach, just listening to some of your comments yesterday, as a matter of fact, at your press conference, it seems like you're hard on yourself. Have you always been that way?
I have an expectation to put players in the best situation possible. And when I can watch the film and evaluate and see that I didn't do that and have calls I should have made or would have made, I take responsibility, just like I expect them. If they make a bad read or a bad throw or miss a block, hey, come talk to me. That's the only way we're going to get it corrected. And I think guys know that hey, I'll own it when it's on me, and I expect them to do the same.
All right, so a turning point, or at least a key, a little catalyst there at the end of the half. Ravens are up 17-6, and Corey Peters busts in, and he sacks Lamar Jackson. And in a way, the end of the half is always so big, and how you go into the locker room. What'd you think of that moment?
That was huge. They were getting the ball second half, and so if they had got points there, it would have been tough. And Corey made a big play, got one-on-one with the guard, and really kept him from moving forward, and that was a huge stop.
Coach, based on your experience right now, what's more impactful in today's NFL? The edge rush or an interior push?
I think it's equal. I mean, you see it around the league. Those guys are just getting bigger, faster, stronger, and it's so hard to protect the quarterback now. And Corey's definitely one of those guys that can have that impact.
Down 20-9 in the fourth quarter, second straight week, fourth quarter comeback. Let's go through that drive real quick. Fitz for 54. What did Kyler see on that play?
He did a nice job moving. Really wasn't his primary read. Slid in the pocket, and Fitz busted wide open. And then Fitz did a great job of, on 2 plays, really extending the play after the catch.
And then you had Christian Kirk for 18, right? And this one went down to the 1. We're going to go to the monitor. Let's break down this play a little bit in detail here. It was 2nd and 4 at the 19.
This is one we'd had in, hoping to catch him in man coverage. You want that defender to try and run over the top, which you can see him chasing number 44, and then you bring him back, and luckily for us, it worked, and it's a nice job there by Demir, blocking all the way from the backside and almost got in.
Coach, what were you trying to achieve by bringing Christian Kirk back in that?
Just what we got here, to get 44 to chase over the top and then have to come back over, and you just want one step with Christian Kirk. If he's got one step on him, it's going to be hard to catch him, and he does a nice job of finishing it.
Yeah, both Kirk and Larry went over 100 yards receiving. And then David Johnson punches it in. You didn't have the luxury of David Johnson earlier when he was out with the wrist injury, but man, he pretty much waltzed in at that point on that play.
He did. It was good to see us get that type of movement down there. we've struggled in the red zone, and a lot of it has to do with the play calling, play design. But I think that definitely gave us some confidence. We get down there that we can move bodies, and you have a big back like David, he can put it in the end zone.
2 for 2 and 2-point conversions. What's the essence of making that play call? Do you have a section on that laminated play sheet for 2-point conversions?
We do. We try to carry 5 to 6 a week, and sometimes they come up in the flow of the game, and not just for the 2-point conversions. But it was an idea that we'd seen the previous week that ended up working out. Keyshawn made a great catch in the back of the end zone, and Kyler bought some extra time.
How much input does Kyler have with you when he comes to the sideline, Coach? I mean, do you guys sit down and talk about this? How much is he telling you, I want to do this, Coach, I want to do this?
There's a lot of that back and forth. I want him to run things that he's comfortable with, and he does a good job of recalling what he's seen out there, coverages and looks and matchups. And so the conversation is always candid, and he's giving me ideas of what he thinks will work.
Baltimore added a field goal, then twice at the very end. You had a chance. Right? Anytime you go on the road, defending division champ like Baltimore, you had a chance at the end, but it must have been frustrating when that clock hit 0, huh?
It was. Anytime guys play that hard and fight and give you the ball at the end of the game, you'd like to finish it, but you got to give them credit. That's a very good football team. Lamar has progressed so much in his development as a passer and was hitting things all day, and they're a big physical team that's going to be hard to beat there at home.
You mentioned future of football going into this one, Kyler and Lamar Jackson. Lamar's ability to pull it down and run at key moments. Do you see Kyler evolving into that to some degree?
No question. I think you look at a player who has, I don't know how many starts he has now, 10 NFL starts and a playoff start under his belt, to a guy who was in his first road start ever. And the more reps you get, the better you're going to be in. And I see Kyler continuing to develop, and I thought he handled himself really well.
Next up, Coach and the crew talk about improving third down performance on both sides of the ball when Game Plan returns. Cardinals Game Plan is brought to you by Dignity Health, hello human kindness, and by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE-FARM.
All right, you mentioned it earlier, Wolf, situational football, third down. I know I've heard this in the locker room a little bit. The way you draw it up, you definitely want to improve in week 3, both sides of the ball when it comes to third down, don't you? We
do. We were very poor offensively, 2 of 11, and then defensively even up 50%. That's not one of our goals. And you got to give them a lot of credit once again in third down. That place gets loud. They bring a bunch of different looks, and we didn't execute great in either side of the football.
We saw a big surge in Hassan Reddick, did we not? From week 1 to week 2, a lot of physical tackles out of Hassan Reddick. Man, that's got to be encouraging, the way he's fought his way back from surgery.
It is, and for him to miss all the training camp in a new scheme, new system, he really could have used those reps, but he's caught up quickly, and he was all over the place on Sunday.
How did he do from an ME perspective? Did he have a lot of mental errors? He had some things he'd like to have back. For the most part, I thought he played very physical. He was all over the field, and he's so athletic. Even if he makes a mistake, he can make up for it. Which is really incredible when you stop and think about it, because he's been in so many different defenses since he's been a pro.
He has, and he's still, learning all the nuances of being a stand-up linebacker. He rushed mostly in college, and so we're very pleased with his development, and we hope it continues.
Lamar Jackson had 2/3 of the rushing yards. There aren't very many Lamar Jacksons in the NFL, so that being the case, what are your concerns? What do you think the bright spots are right now on the defensive side of the ball?
They have a great scheme, and he hit a bunch of big-time throws. The one at the end comes to mind. It's 3rd and 11. We're about to get the ball back again, and he drops a perfect fade ball into there to Brown. But, I think we're a work in progress. I don't know if there's one thing I can point to. We're just going to try and get better each week and peak, when it's time to make a run.
Coach, you had to be happy with the line of scrimmage, right? Just watching the way the box is competing in there. I noticed you had 8 in the box in rundown situation, with 3 safeties actually out of the field. Could we see more of that?
I think, game plan-wise, we'll see. There's not many guys like we just mentioned, like Lamar Jackson, but I thought we had a good plan at times, and they made plays at times, and we'll keep coming up with new ideas and trying to stop offenses.
Where do you think Kyler improved week 1 to week 2? What'd you like?
The overall decision-making, I thought he went to the right place for the football a bunch, and trusted himself and made good reads, got through his progressions, and really settled in compared to where he was at week 1.
You still talking to him every play? I mean, right up to the play clock?
Yeah, there's that fine line. You don't want to, put too many thoughts in his head, but we're having information pass through there and trying to just give kind of subtle reminders on each play.
Do you plan on doing that, Coach, just the rest of the season?
I do until tells me to shut up. Anyway, I can kind of just, hey, here's a little pointer on this play. We're thinking here to here. I'll try to help him. But he has a great command of it, and really pleased with where it's heading.
I mean, his decision-making after 2 starts in the NFL against regular season defenses, you hear other quarterbacks and analysts, they keep coming back to Kyler and how impressed they are by that. Why? Why is that the case?
He works at it, He's gotten a ton of reps since he's been here, and he hadn't missed a practice or 1 rep at practice. He takes a lot of pride in that, and you got to tip your hat to a kid who's worked that hard since he's got here to really be processing at the level he is.
Coach, if Cam can't go, Cam Newton, of course, it looks like Kyle Allen will be the guy that will actually get the start. What do you know of Kyle Allen?
I know when he played last year, he played really well. He got his opportunity late in the season to start and won a big game there on the road in New Orleans, and followed him throughout high school. We recruited him there at Texas Tech, and he was the top quarterback prospect in the country coming out. And so he's a talented young man, and he'll be ready to go.
More with Coach Kingsbury later in the show. Up next, Terrell Suggs mic'd up for his return to Baltimore on Cardinals Game Plan. Welcome back to Cardinals Game Plan. On Sunday, Terrell Suggs was mic'd up for his return to Baltimore, where he played 16 seasons for the Ravens. Wired, brought to you by your Arizona Ford dealers.
You're into movie production and scripts.
Yeah.
Is a script too cliche to be made into a movie?
No, I think it it's a good narrative, so to say. I think we're all clear that for 3 hours come Sunday, I am their opponent. They're my opponent. They're gonna try to win. I'm gonna try to win. After the game, we'll see. We need to go win a game. It's their opener. It's gonna be a lot of noise.
It's one of the more anticipated games of Week 2 of the NFL regular season. Lamar Jackson against Kyler Murray.
Feel good. Feel great. Blessed. Feeling blessed, man.
Terrell Suggs back in Baltimore for the first time.
What up, Sizzle? What up, baby? What's up, baby? Hey, ignore the noise. As cliche as it is, ignore the noise. We're here to play football, right? Yes, we're here to play football, right? Good job, boy. Good recovery. All we do is play football, 1 snap at a time, 1 play at a time. Together. Together. Let's do it. Let's get it. Bird gang on 3. 1, 2, 3. Bird gang. Let's get it. Let y'all go ball out. Give me 2 more. Go Baltimore. Go Baltimore. Dark sizzle.
It is hot and humid. Can't wait to see how this unfolds.
Good to see you, man. Hey, man. I'm still out here trying to do it. I love you too, boy. Respect, brother. Respect. Oh, you boy. Hey, every snap, we just got to know our responsibility. Always assume it's run to you and handle your responsibility on that. Let's do it. Gang on 3. 1, 2, 3.
To Lamar Jackson. 5-step drop. Has time. Now the pocket collapses. Jackson steps up to run at the 20, 25, near side 30, and taken down there. So he got 10 yards back.
Hey, boy. Come on, kid. Hey, boy.
Lamar Jackson, he turns on the Jets, and he gets in the open field. Look how.
The Cardinals, no surprise here, have been able to get pressure with that 4-man rush with T-Sizzle, of course, and then Chandler Jones.
Tackle over! Tackle over! Get big, boy. You know they run in here. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Give me the ball. Give me the ball.
Lamar Jackson in the pistol. Takes the snap. Hands it off to Justice Hill running right. He gets hammered. Upended.
Hell yeah.
By DJ Slayton.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Backfield. This play's coming back. It's holding.
Suggs! Suggs! Suggs, I miss you, Suggs. Suggs, you're my best friend.
This is the strangest thing I've ever been a part of. You know what I'm saying? What up, boy? They finna run here to get the first, but we need some kind of pressure.
It is 2nd down and 12. Jackson back to pass. Gets hit and sacked.
Same thing, boy.
Corey Peters eats him alive.
What's the score? 17-6? It's unfortunate, but we've been here before.
1st and goal from inside the 1 with 12:54 to go in the 4th, and the Cardinals down.
Come on, O. Come on, O.
Murray in shotgun, flanked to his left by David Johnson. Murray waits for the snap, he's got it. Hands it off to David Johnson, runs straight ahead, untouched. Touchdown.
That's what I'm talking about, baby.
They get a touchdown, and they may go for 2. Murray throws back in the end zone. Keyshawn Johnson wide open, caught it. They're only down 3.
They're in for a minute. They're going to throw it if they have to.
Lamar Jackson, though, obviously can run. He's in the shotgun. He's back to throw. And he's looking deep, firing far side, and the pass is caught by Brown inside the 20-yard line, picking up the first down, which will end the game.
Very humbling, and it felt good, to kind of feel the love.
Hey, what's up, Coach?
Some love, man.
How you doing?
Play your ass off, like always.
I think now we've got these 2 late starts out of the way. We got some good things to look forward to. 0-1-1 is better than 0-2.
Next, Paul and Wolf with a deep dive into how the Cardinals can snatch their first victory of the season when they face the Carolina Panthers Sunday. Welcome back to Cardinals Game Plan. Now, Paul Calvisi and Ron Wolfley with what to watch for Sunday when the Cardinals welcome the Panthers to State Farm Stadium.
All right, we've heard it for 100 years, Wolf, that everything starts with running the ball and stopping the run. If it wasn't for Matthew Stafford, believe it or not, and then Lamar Jackson, the Cardinals' defense against running backs has been pretty stout, hasn't it?
Absolutely, Paulie. This is one of the things that I am most encouraged about watching through 2 games, granted. But we know the Detroit Lions want to run the ball. We know the Baltimore Ravens, they want to run the ball. Maybe the quintessential run team in the National Football League. They want to line up and blow you off the ball. Every time they snapped the ball and handed it off to a running back, the Arizona Cardinals box kept him down under 4 yards a carry. Hey, listen, to me, that is a big stat right there, right? And that is something that I think Vance Joseph and that front 7 in particular can build off of.
All right, 3rd down is the other key, obviously. The Panthers were 3 of 17 on 3rd and 4th down against Tampa. For the Cardinals to have that kind of success, what's got to happen for their D?
My goodness, you know what? First of all, it all starts with pass rush on 3rd down. You're talking about 3rd down, you've got to get to the quarterback. And I think the Cardinals have done a decent job on that, but I think they can do a lot better, right? There's no doubt about it. In the Detroit Lions game, we saw it. We saw the pressure. But I think in the Baltimore Ravens game, that was the game that I felt like they needed more off the edge. They need to get to the quarterback, whomever that quarterback's going to be for the Carolina Panthers, whether it's Cam Newton or Kyle Allen. They need to get to him.
All right, so Fitz had over 100 yards receiving, Christian Kirk over 100 yards receiving, but it was Kirk who said to get off to a fast start, we need to establish the run. Only 11 rushing attempts for the Cardinals at Baltimore.
Only 11, and 3 of them, I believe, was by a quarterback. I think it was Kyler Murray on that, Paulie. Listen, they ran 15 plays in the red zone in particular. You got to be able to run the ball in the red zone, in my opinion. Humble though it may be. You got to be able to run the ball in the red zone. They ran it 3 times out of 15 plays, Paulie. Listen, the square footage is reduced, obviously, right? And then you're talking about the best players in the world that are a lot faster than a lot of college players, of course, right? Because of all this, you have to be able to run the ball if you want to be good in the red zone. And I think that's where they can improve the most.
Yeah, 3 times inside the 5 at Baltimore, and they wound up with 3 field goals this week. You got to finish.
Coach Kingsbury's final thoughts on the matchup with the Panthers when we return. Cardinals Game Plan has been brought to you by Dignity Health, Hello Human Kindness, and by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE-FARM.
All right, wrapping it up with the head coach, Cliff Kingsbury. Every time the Cardinals play Carolina, you see Luke Kuechly, and he did it against Tampa. He had 17 tackles, 2 for loss. He had a safety. What's the challenge of going against one of the best middle linebackers in the game?
He's a phenomenal player. He tends to sniff it out before you even execute the play. Very heads up, very strong, very physical, can run things down, whether it's a wide receiver or running back. So I don't know how you slow him down. You just hope he has an off day, and you got to be physical right back with him.
Coach, what do you feel like you have to do? If you're going to win the game, what do you feel like you have to do well?
Yeah, y'all nailed it. It's 3rd week. We got to start faster. I mean, we have to come out and put some pressure on their offense and not play from behind the entire game.
And then you get the crowd behind you. That definitely helps things, doesn't it?
It is. It was rocking towards the end of that last one, and so we need to get that thing going early.
Larry being a deep threat, by the way, we know he gets the crowd going. What was your decision there? Because he's made longer pass catches than we've seen in 3 years. What did you see?
He just, if you get it close on any of those, he's going to make a play for you. And so he can still run. And it's amazing to watch. But we're going to give him a chance. He's such a big body, such a physical presence. We're going to give him a chance to make those plays, and I'm sure he'll keep making them.
Good luck against Carolina.
Appreciate it, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you for watching Cardinals Game Plan. For more great Cards content, check out the team's official YouTube page at youtube.com/azcardinals.